Hey everybody and welcome back. It's time to get back into some Final Fantasy VI. We are getting very, very close to the end here, so there are a couple of things that I want to get to before we get into Kefka's Tower for real. So first off, we're stopping in South Figaro here because there is a silly little scene that somehow made it through translation here. If you go around the corner, you'll see for each life lost, a new one arrives to fill the void. Okay, nothing's gonna stop us. What? Oh, that person. Those guys were making babies in the bushes. Next up, we're going to steal a Tortoise Shield, a couple of them actually from these guys over here. These are kind of in the Narsh area. We're going to use these in the Colosseum because I want to make some bets to get some stuff. Nothing important, just kind of more fun and stuff I'll show off after I'm done with the game. Next, we're actually going to the Colosseum. What we're going to do is we're going to kit out Terra so that she is unkillable. So she's got 128 magic evade. She can't be hit. In this first fight here, we're going to bet a Tortoise Shield, and we're going to have to fight this really big, ugly dude that we'll see in a second, and eventually that'll get us another item in the chain. This is going to feel... There we go. Yep, we're going to get a titanium. This might feel a little similar to like a Big Oron sword quest, but basically what we're doing is we're betting things to get incrementally like different items to eventually get what I'm looking for. I'm going to go ahead and skip most of these fights, or at least show you just the beginning and the end, because they took forever. This one took me, I want to say, about 15 minutes, because I did not take off the gem box and economizer, so Terra kept trying to cast 2 spells, and it was just a waste of time. But eventually here, I'll skip ahead, and she has the Illumina, which can randomly cast Pearl, which is really important, because she does hardly no damage, like, just no damage at all with her physical attacks. We're relying on that Pearl. Anyway, we get the titanium. We are going to bet that. Terra's going back in. This time, if we beat this Brachiosaur, we will get a cat hood. And this is actually, like, not a boss, but stronger than a lot of bosses in the game. In the field, when you fight it, it can cast Ultima. In the Colosseum, it only ever attacks you physically, and we can't be hurt. So after 45 minutes of just having lunch or whatever, we get our cat hood. Next, we're going to bet the cat hood against this Hoover. And we fought these guys, actually. We ran away from them. We didn't actually fight them in the desert when we were fighting Cactrots. They're not super duper strong, but they can definitely do some damage, especially if you're not ready for them. And from that, we get a merit award. I won't be using that in the main playthrough, but I'll show off some stuff with that after we're done. Another thing that I want to grab as long as we're out and about is this Nightshade Rage with Gao, because... Again, I don't need this to beat the game, but it is pretty funny, so we'll show it off. Another funny thing that happened while I was out here, this was not something that I've encountered before, but it was pretty hilarious, and it really kind of pissed me off too. So remember to save your game, even when you're feeling really confident. So these goblins here, they're not super strong. In fact, Edgar will take one out with a chainsaw instant kill attack, but then the other one's going to cast level 3 Muddle, and I have 3 characters that are level 6, so they're all going to be affected by that. I had been inputting the Blitz for Sabin, so he's going to bum rush and kill himself, so that's pretty cool. That actually, I don't think has ever happened to me. And then Edgar had about a 4% chance to hit himself, and not only did he do that, but he also cast Pearl on himself and killed himself. And then Realm cannot hit herself. Her magic evade is so high that she cannot actually be damaged by like a physical attack. And this thing just continues to use spells on me. So I sat here for a couple of minutes just laughing, but I had to reset here. Pretty silly. Then we're going to get Gao back. We wanted to get that Nightshade Rage. That'll be pretty fun. We'll show that off in a little while. But not important right now. Right now, we're going to jump into Kefka's Tower. And there was a scene I told you I would show you, and here it is. So this is what you see the first time when you are jumping into Kefka's Tower. It's time to break into Kefka's domain. Yeah, but Celes has some worries about that. What's wrong? Well, the statues give the Espers the magical energy they need to live. If we destroy the statues, what'll happen? Well, we don't really know, but Terra also relies on magic to live, and magic will almost certainly disappear from the world if we destroy those towers, or those statues, rather. So, very interesting. She puts her head down, yeah. Could be bad. Anyway, in we go. We've been here before, but we do want to do this kind of carefully. So, we're not going to worry about parties 1 and 3 right now, but we're going to give ourselves some all-stars in party 2. Those are the people that can have a pretty high magic evade right now, and then also Mog. We need Mog with us because I don't really want to be fighting random encounters as I go through here and clear out some of the bosses. You don't have to do it this way. You can, equally distribute your party members across all 3 parties, but I find it's easier if you just kind of get further into the tower, take out some of the mini bosses along the way, and then come back after and sweep through once most of the threats are kind of neutralized. So we'll take our first group here, or our more important group in, and it's time for a rematch, kind of, against Atma. So we fought Atma Weapon in the World of Balance right before we fought, or found, I guess, Kefka and Gestal on the floating continent. And now we find Atma here inside Kefka's tower in the jail cell where we originally saw Kefka being held inside Vector. Very interesting. This fight is a pain in the butt. You might notice that everybody is floating here. We're going to get life 3 on everyone. There are many ways. There are many ways that Atma can kill us. Not the least of which being casting Ultima. The other one that could take us out is Quake, and that is why we are floating. But our tactics remain tried and true. We want to Ultima. And when people do go down, we want to just get life 3 back on them, because there are 3 different ways that this boss can just party wipe you. And you need to be able to get everyone back up, and you need to get them back up quickly. Otherwise, you're going to run into a situation where he's going to cast, like, Quake, for example, and everybody dies, and that's okay, because you have life 3. But then right after that, he casts Meteor, and then everybody dies again, because you didn't have time to cast life 3. So I never actually got hit with Ultima in this specific attempt, but this was my 3rd time trying to fight Atma in this file. I would say he's not the most technically challenging boss, because by this point in the game, we have so many resources, but it's still, I don't know, kind of a butt clencher, for lack of a better word. Like, by the time I'm done with this one, I'm thinking, like, oh, there's not too much more that I'm worried about in this game. There goes Quake, and yeah, like I said, everybody's floating, so that didn't do anything, which, that was a big deal, because Quake was one of the ones that really messed me up the first time I fought him. I just wasn't thinking about getting float on people. That little flash of light there, that's indicating that he is now able to cast Ultima, and will do so on the next turn that he takes. However, I ended up getting off like 6 spells before he could. So that's it. That's Atma. That's a pretty tough boss that technically I don't think we needed to fight, but we did. And then the save point pops up. I almost made another mistake similar to the one in the Fanatic's Tower, where I did not put the Moogle Charm back onto Mog. Again, that's not... Actually, that probably would have been not even as big a deal in here as it was in Fanatic's Tower, because we had just come out of a battle and we had like no HP left. But it doesn't matter because we didn't get into a fight. Still, not a smart move. Next up, we're going to continue through the tower a little bit. We've seen most of this already when we came in through here for a treasure run, but we have another dragon to kill. You might remember there's only 2 left, and this one is the gold dragon. So it starts off using like lightning attacks and counters most of our attacks with Bolt 2 or Bolt 3. This guy isn't very strong. You might have noticed if you're really paying attention, I didn't even bother like doing our normal like buff at the beginning where we get everybody set up with life 3 and then we get haste on everyone. It's not really worth it for this fight. He doesn't present enough of a challenge for me to waste my time, if that makes sense, preparing for a battle that just isn't necessarily that hard. So I did not take the Moogle Charm off of Mog before this fight. I wanna lie to you and tell you that's because I'm being really careful and I don't want to forget to put it back on, but I just didn't think about it and didn't feel like going back because it's not a hard fight. And there he goes. 10 more magic points, a crystal orb, and then we'll see. We only have 1 dragon left. Awesome. So I skipped ahead. We're going down the 3rd track now. Same party though. So we have, Celis, Edgar, Terra, and Mog. And again, Mog is here mostly for his ability to stop us from fighting random encounters. This is the track where, if you watched a few episodes back, I was talking about being a little worried about coming into this room, because if you step on this spot over here, you trigger this boss fight, this attack from above. And this guy looks pretty similar. This is kind of like the boss that we fought when we were in the minecarts, and there's kind of a similar process as well, in that if you attack the arms, excuse me, Inferno, the one in the middle, is the actual boss. If you attack the arms, they'll die eventually, but they just come back. So normally what you want to do is you want to hit the middle, the body, with your strongest, like, lightning magic, because that's going to do the most damage to him, and that actually out-damages Ultima in this specific case. It's not always true. But I don't have Bolt 3 on very many people. I have it on Celis, but I don't have it on Terra or Edgar or Mog. And since Terra is hasted, she is like lapping Celis, if that makes sense. Like, Terra is getting a turn off, and then by the time all of her spells are out and she's done, she's already ready to go again, and then she'll cast her quick in her Ultima before Celis even gets a turn. So if I was thinking about this, or if I would have been a little bit more prepared, I maybe would have put Celis in the spot where Mog is, just so that her turn would have come up more often, so I could get those Bolt 3s off. The other frustrating thing about this fight is that you probably are seeing this Delta hit that is turning people into stone. I don't have the luxury of equipping people with, you know, relics specifically to combat that, because I need their relics to provide the ability to cast with no NP costs right now. So it takes a little while. This one is actually as long as Atma, but down he goes. And we're getting towards the end. We got one more boss fight on our little rush today. First, save up and heal up, because that one did take some resources. And then we're going to continue on. And if you've played this game before, you might be thinking, like, there's not a lot left. And that is true. We're just picking up some of the last items here, clearing the path for our party as they're going to travel through later, because this dungeon is set up in such a way that you have to kind of open paths for your other teams as you move through. And we'll be back here shortly to come along all of those paths and get down to the end. But here, before that, we have another dragon. Looks kind of greenish. This one is the Skull Dragon. This one is weak against fire, and we're actually pretty good with fire spells. Like, everybody had a chance at the Phoenix Esper, which teaches Fire 3. So most people should have that. I started off using Ultima, and honestly, in this fight, Ultima is a little bit stronger, but the casting time on Fire 3 is quite a bit shorter. Not that it takes less time to cast it, I guess I should say, but the animation is quite a bit shorter. And that'll be important in this fight, because this enemy can use like a Condemn ability, which gives you a countdown, and there it goes on Terra. And when it counts down to 0, your character dies. Well, while you're quicked, you know, a countdown on somebody else doesn't advance, but you can see Terra's is... There she goes. Terra's was advancing while it was her turn, even while time was stopped for everyone else. And that's why we switched to using Fire 3, because Ultima just takes a little bit longer. You can get more Fire 3 spells off. That's it, though. That's the end of that dragon, and with that, that's actually the end of all the dragons. So we've defeated all 8 dragons. The dragon seal is broken. We could have talked to somebody who would tell us that there was this seal holding back this Magicite Crusader. We won't use Crusader. Not even in the next 2 episodes, I think, is all it's going to take, because we are stopping here. If you have anything you want me to know, drop it down in the comments. If you want to see how we wrap things up, make sure you subscribe for me, and I will see you in the next video.